Alright, listen up folks. While you're scratching your head, trying to figure out how you're gonna afford your power bill come July. Yep, that's up to 9% higher after last week's decision by the energy market operator. Anthony Albanese is still off on his green energy fantasy trip. You'd think, with an election looming in a couple of months, his number one priority would be fixing the cost of living crisis, right? Making sure you're not getting fleeced every time you flick the lights on? But nope. He's doubling down on his dreamland energy policies, ignoring the real crisis happening right in front of us. Now, before we dig into the mess, do us a favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and let us know in the comments, do you reckon Peter Dutton has the guts to take on a Trump-style energy revolution in Australia? And if you're sick of the political nonsense, grab our Albo Says Relax t-shirt, only $23 for the next 48 hours. Links in the description. Alright, let's rip in. So, here's the reality. Labor has been heavily subsidizing renewable energy projects, funneling billions of your taxpayer dollars into solar and wind, while completely neglecting coal-fired power stations. And surprise, surprise, those very stations are falling apart. According to Energy Minister Chris Bowen, that's the real reason your power bills are skyrocketing. He reckons coal plants are breaking down left, right, and center, causing energy price spikes. But let's call it what it is, absolute bunkum. The reason no one's investing in maintaining coal infrastructure is because Labor has made it clear they want it gone. Why would any company spend a cent on keeping coal power running when the government's out there waving blank checks at renewables? And yet, despite all this spending, we don't have enough renewables to keep the grid stable. So, they are forcing us onto a system that isn't ready, pushing prices up, and blaming the very thing that's been keeping the lights on for decades. Now, here's where it gets proper laughable. While Aussies are getting smashed by eye-watering electricity bills, Albo's out here hyping up green hydrogen like it's the golden ticket to Australia's future. He says it's gonna be huge, that we'll be the envy of the world, that big companies like Rio Tinto are jumping on board. But guess what? The facts tell a very different story. Remember that $600 million hydrogen power plant planned for Whyalla? Gone. Shelved. The steelworks there went bust, and the project was scrapped last month. But instead of learning from that disaster, what does the federal government do? They throw another $1 billion into a green iron fund, including $500 million to supposedly decarbonize the same steelworks that just went into administration. And it doesn't stop there. Another $755 million was thrown at green hydrogen in the metals industry just last week. That's billions of dollars of your money. At a time when Aussies are struggling to pay for groceries, rent, and petrol, being dumped into a technology that isn't even remotely viable yet. Still not convinced it's a massive con? Let's talk hard numbers. 2 weeks ago, The Australian reported that 99% of proposed hydrogen projects in this country haven't moved beyond the concept stage. That's right, nearly 100 projects announced, and 61 have already been quietly abandoned. The others? Either stuck in feasibility studies or straight up dead in the water. Even the Australian energy market operator, Labor's own team, has admitted that the cost, timing, and scale of Australia's so-called hydrogen economy is now highly uncertain. And let's not forget Twiggy Forrest, one of the biggest cheerleaders for green hydrogen. Even is pulled out of a deal with Plug Power, a major US hydrogen company. If he's not buying what Albo's selling, why should we? Oh, and here's another kicker. You know that $300 million green hydrogen fund the Clean Energy Finance Corporation launched 4 years ago? Only $15.7 million has actually been spent. 2 tiny investments in Townsville and Victoria. That's just 5% of the total fund actually being used, because, shock horror, no one wants to gamble on a technology that isn't profitable. So here's the real question. Why is the government still pushing this? Why are they hell-bent on gutting our existing energy system for a net zero target we will not meet? Labor promised us that 82% of Australia's power would come from renewables by 2030. That was their big pledge, right? Well, according to new modeling, the best-case scenario puts us at 65% by the end of the decade. And that's if everything goes right. Spoiler, it won't. The targets are fantasy. The spending is out of control. And it's Aussie families and businesses who are paying the price. And yet, Albo still has the gall to tell us we are the envy of the world when it comes to green hydrogen. Mate, we are not even the envy of our own people when it comes to power prices. So, here's what needs to happen. Cut the nonsense. Admit that the net zero dream isn't working as planned. Slow down, get real about energy stability, and stop throwing taxpayer money into green projects that aren't delivering results. Because right now, the only thing Labor's energy policy is doing is making you poorer, while they sit in Canberra, patting themselves on the back for saving the planet. If you're sick of being taken for a ride, let us know in the comments. And if you want to send a message to Canberra, check out our Albo Says Relax t-shirt, only $23 for the next 2 days. Links in the description. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video, because if the media won't call this out, we bloody well will. Catch you next time.